Hello, everyone. This is Sunny Fireside with Jeff Walker. I'm your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. Before I do anything, I would like to show you our new intro. All right, that's our new intro, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go over here and cut it off. And I thank you. This is our 9th episode of Sunny Fireside with Jeff Walker Sports. We talk sports. As I said before we came on, I said to our Facebook crowd, we're growing, we're doing more, we're covering more issues, more topics, and we covering the spectrum of sports. And we got another good program here. We may have some people joining us in a little bit. All more the merrier. We look forward to it. And we're going to have a great time talking about sports. And I'm going to get right in with the subjects, but I'm going to start with something that you all may surprise you. What about this in-league tournament? How is that going to affect things? The in-league tournament. Have y'all thought about that? Is it going to affect, they're going to give a trophy for the MVP. I think they're going to give a certain amount of money. Is it going to affect that? Certainly they're doing it for money, trying to pump things up and going off of the bubble experience. But I think they may be going too far. But what you think, Mr. President, Jeff?
I think they're trying to spark interest in the NBA. They're trying to continue to make it a global league, trying to continue to get people to want to watch it. They're trying to find ways how to be innovative and trying to spark interest. And I understand why they did it. I'm not too crazy about the idea, but I understand why they did it. But I don't think it's going to impact the end of the season. I just think it's something it's almost like a gimmick. It's just something they're doing to try to spark interest in the league. So you do what you have to do.
For my purposes, I think that's one of the things that they made a mistake on. They should do expansion and try to do that, which is, I think, time for, instead of trying to do an in-league tournament. Brother Philip, what you think?
Well, first of all, basketball is one of the most popular sports in the world. And the NBA draws every nationality you can think of. And Jeffrey's right. In one aspect of the money, they figure it could generate a lot of income for the league and popularity it already has. So it's like replicating the wheel, but at the same time, you on that side call that it kind of disrupts the flow of things, but we all have to be open-minded about opportunity and things. They look at the Final Four, they look at the collegiate excitement, and they're just trying to stuff as much basketball into one season as they can.
Sure are. They sure are. I think the bubble experiment, which has now become permanent, shows that innovation for a situation that was brought upon them, but they handled it well.
Yeah.
And now they've made innovations across the board of all sports. Phil, did you get the chance to see very many summer league games?
I did watch a few, and I was impressed with the top 4 or 5 picks. Of course, there were some lower picks, and especially the kid out of U of H. I had told Ralph before the draft he'd probably go late the first round, and he went up there. He had a 40-piece in one of the summer league games, and you know, Marcus Sasser, that would be him. And like I said, I went to several U of H games last year, and I was sure he was an NBA player, but that was the most impressive thing he did all year, even at U of H. And he did it against the better competition. So I'm impressed. And he reminds me of the kid that left U of H a few years ago that's in New York right now. They're about the same level of player.
Is that Grimes? Is that Grimes?
Grimes, exactly. Okay. He's from Houston too. So he's actually from Houston. So they're expecting big things from him. But I just think if he doesn't get it soon, they'll be moving him out like they did the Obi kid, you know.
Right.
They don't have
Right.
time to wait on you up in East Coast New York. But yeah, the Summer League was interested in Wembanyama. He's everything they thought he could be, but at the same time, don't forget Chet Holmgren is coming back.
Yes.
He's a very comparable player to
Yes.
Wembanyama, and he missed the whole year from Liz Frank surgery
Right.
on his foot.
Let me interject this. Have you heard some of these NBA players say, man, don't be putting up Wembanyama all up in his height. You know, some people call him another Sean Bradley. You remember Sean Bradley?
I remember him well. You know, he's actually deceased now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Sean Bradley was nowhere near what Wembanyama or Chet Holmgren is to me. And, you know, he gave a good effort. He lasted a long time in the league, though. That was something. He lasted a good. But Sean Bradley, yeah, I think health is the most important thing. And he actually stayed healthy for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, Jeff, talking about the Summer League, what do you think about what happened across the board?
I love the Summer League. I watched a lot of Summer League, especially the Rocket games. I didn't miss one Rocket game. I saw a couple of the Spurs games, the two that the big guy, Big V. I saw both his games. The first game, he was like out of sync. He was, I'm like, wow, he looks really out of sync. But then the second game, he had like 27 points and like 12 rebounds. And I'm like, okay, that is okay. All right, he bought it around, and he's going to be an outstanding player. But I like what you said about Chet Holmgren. If he's healthy this season, oh my goodness, that OKC team is going to surprise a lot of teams because they got a good player in the draft, and then they got Holmgren now, and then they already have an all-star in Alexander Gilchrist. So they got a good team now. That team is well run. They got an outstanding GM. Remember, that team has like 16 first-round picks in the next 5 drafts or something like that. They are stacked. That team is going to be stacked. That team is going to be almost back to where they were when they had Westbrook, Harden, and Durant.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far just yet, Jeff.
No, hold on.
Now,
they built that team.
I mean, now they do have Gilgeous Alexander, he is a superstar, and they talking about giving him something like $400 million. And now a lot depends on Chet Holmgren. As we watch, we're getting ready for the highlights of some of the Rocket picks, specifically Cam Whitmore, and we're getting ready for those highlights. But Chet Holmgren is the key to Oklahoma City. Yes, they do have Gilgeous Alexander, and I can never pronounce his name, but they also have a good foundation with Josh Giddey. The other boy, the small forward, I forgot his name, a strong, short dude. Now, they got to get a center down low to be able to really do something, to be able to, because I don't think they want to put Chet Holmgren at center right now in the NBA. Does
Steven Adams still play for them? Does Steven Adams still play for them?
Who?
Steven Adams.
He does not. He does.
Oh,
no, he plays for Memphis.
Okay.
As we watch some of the highlights, this is Cam Whitmore, the Rockets pick, who surprised a lot of people. However, he was projected real low, but fell. Nobody still explained to me why he failed in the draft. But certainly the Rockets seem like, hey, we got a prize in there. My question for the Rockets is, how is everybody going to get minutes, as well as you can't bring a disgruntled Kevin Porter off the bench, I don't think, and have chemistry. I think if they're going to keep Fred VanVleet, who they just paid $80 million for, I think you're going to have to trade Kevin Porter. That's my opinion. Jeff, what's your opinion on that?
Okay, I disagree with that. I don't think that you have to trade Kevin Porter. I think it comes down to Kevin Porter maturity. If he's mature, if he's a mature man, he can be the sixth man. Let him be the sixth man. He's your first guard off the bench. He can come in and bag up.
And I just gave my argument against that. It's going to cause too many problems for the team. He's been a starter for 2 years.
Again, it comes back to his attitude. If he has the right attitude, he has the right level of maturity, he can make that work.
Well,
why he can't
obviously
make that work.
they believe if they gonna keep him, that he can do that. It's gonna work out. So Raphael Stone and Ime Ekaduga, they have decided, I guess, if they keep him, he's mature enough to do that. So we'll see. Now, if he is, they might can get a little bit higher than I got them projected. I got them projected for 7th. Brother Darryl, can we go back to the screen? I got them projected for 7th. Oklahoma City for 6th. I think Memphis and Phoenix are going to switch 4th and 5th. What is your projection, Jeff?
Okay, I have the Rockets with 40 wins. I have them at 40 and 42. Now it could be more if they can stay healthy, but at 40 and 42, that's projected on, you're gonna have some injuries, and so with that being factored in, I'm gonna say 40 and 42. However, if they can be healthy, if they can stay healthy and keep their main core players healthy, I think this team could win as many as 45 wins. I think they can get to 45 wins, 45 and 37. And I think that would be good enough to get them to the 6th seed. I have them at 6 if they can be healthy. But you're going to have some injuries. So with that being said, I got them at 40. I got them about 40 to 42 wins. I think they might be able to end up with the 9th seed and end up in the play-in tournament. There's a play-in.
I got them higher than you have. Excuse me, Philip. What is your projection of how well the Rockets have improved from all of what they've done, their draft picks, and then their free agencies?
Well, you guys seem a little aggressive, in my opinion, but that's okay. You have to look at some things the right way. And in my opinion, they drafted well. Darryl was one of the first people I heard that, really liked Cam, but I did see him play in college, and I thought that he would go higher, and he didn't, but he proved himself in the summer league. With that being said, I would be delighted if they made it to the playoff game. I do believe the West is going to be top heavy. They're going to beat each other up. So to get into the playoff game, you do not have to have a winning record this time, I don't think. And if they can just get there, that would be such a tremendous jump from where they just left. And with Udoka as a leader and the guys they brought in, I don't know the rotation they're going to go with. I'm going to be at a few games to kind of evaluate for myself. But I do believe they're on a right trajectory. They're going to win some games they're not supposed to win. They're going to lose some games they're not supposed to lose. And so with what they're doing, I think they're a year or two away from stiffing people and just running past people. But right now, they're going to still take some lumps. They're young, and they're going to establish an identity and a style of play that will probably get them to the playoff game if things break well. But I'm not going any further than that. The West is tough.
I just want to add again, I'm projecting 46-36. Darryl, what is your projection?
I'm leaning more toward like Phil. I'm not sure how a new coach, new players, new rotation, how is it going to mesh? How is it going to meld? I totally understand what Jeff was saying about health, but that's an issue for any team and every team. Health is always a question, regardless. So, having said that,
I'll let them know.
I do believe that they could be 8th, 9th seed. I believe they can make the play-in. What I would really like to see them do in a short sample size is make a little noise in the in-season tournament. This is going to be the first year that they're going to have that. So that's a chance to just go all out and just go for it if you don't think that you can do it over the 82-game season. The mini tournament, go for it at that point and see what you have. Build up your confidence, and who knows what will happen, But I do like the team as it's currently constructed. I agree with you about Kevin Porter Jr. I think that he may, and I don't know, Jeff, you know better than I do, he may make too much to be coming off the bench. They may have to package him in a deal and get rid of him. I don't know. I don't know the numbers. Like I said, that's what J-Dub does. He looks at numbers like that. But outside of that, I love the squad. I'm excited about the squad. All I wish is that we had a big man to go with the mix of veterans and rookies and the guys, the free agents that we brought in.
All right. I just want to bring everybody up to speed. This is the 9th episode of Sunny Five Side with Jeff Walker Live. We're on Facebook Live. Of course, we're on Zoom right here. And we have had 2 new guests to join us since we first started. Brother Jolivet, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for the invitation. Nice to meet all you gentlemen.
We've been talking about the Summer League and all of the different things that we saw. We saw Wembanyama, we saw Brandon Miller, we saw Cam Whitmore, and we saw Jabari Smith show out in the 3 games that he did. Brother Jolivet, out of all the teams that made trades and the free agents and as well as the draft picks, who improved the most in the NBA in your opinion?
I mean, just from what I said, I didn't watch too much of the draft and knowing where most of the players went, but I'm just going to touch on the Rockets. I think they picked up some really good additions. I thought, getting them in Thompson and then Cam Whitmore, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I know some people just, noticed him through the Summer League games like that, but I think he's going to be a great addition for the Rockets in many ways. I think he's going to be someone that Udoka is really going to look forward to working with. I know that he's not going to start, but he's definitely going to be somebody who's going to get a lot of minutes and going to push some of the guys that we had on the team last year to try to be a little bit more, to try to develop more and be and going to listen to Udoka as far as like the structure and the discipline of what he's bringing to the team. I really do think we got an outstanding team.
What do you think about what I said about Kevin Porter?
Kevin Porter, I think we're going to have him probably for about half of a season. I think we're going to use him as far as like, just probably a trade because like Mr. Phillips said, I think we're going to try to put him some type of package where we're going to get a big man, some veteran that actually needs to be here to kind of for the Rockets to move forward and try to, get to that 40-plus win. Me, myself, personally, I think they're going to win about 35 to 38 games this year. But I really think with the additions and a young team, I really think we got a really solid team. But I do expect in 2 years, I think we're going to be making a push, to get in that second round of the playoffs, depending on, who we're going to pick up as far as like a veteran. We just have we have some really good young talent. And I just love the trades and the pickups and the pickups that we have. Very, really solid.
Sounds good. I still believe the addition of Udoka and these veterans, just like Jeff Green, they just got him on the bench. And I say he gonna play backup center. He's gonna be the backup in a lot of situations at center. With the experience he has, he can be able to settle people down in the back. They're not gonna need that much backup behind Şagun as long as he don't get hurt. But Lockdale is there in case Şagun get hurt, and they need that solid big man. Bert, you saw all the free agents. You saw all the Summer League correspondence and different things going on. What do you say? Who had the greatest advancement and looking forward to next year?
Honestly, I watched a lot of the Summer League. Actually, it got me interested because the Rockets got so much young talent, and young talent is what the league is about now. The league is going young. We don't have a lot of older players anymore, but I do like the Rockets, man. I think they did well. I was a big fan of Whitmore to begin with. I just thought I really didn't know nothing much about the twins, so I knew about Whitmore from Villanova. So I thought he should have went higher, but I don't know what dropped him. But I think the Rockets overall, to answer your question, did a great job of picking up, 2 good rookies, and adding, my Van Fleet, picking him up, and Jeff Green, man, you got to, man, that dude is an ageless wonder. You see him won this championship with Denver this past year, man. The dude still got something to contribute to the game. And I think with his experience and these young guys, man, it's up, up. It's looking up, man. I'm excited. The first time in a long time I've been excited about watching the Rockets. I went to several games. I mean, I went to 3 or 4 games this past year, man. And, they just didn't have, the coaching wasn't there. He wasn't, you shouldn't have to motivate your players, but he didn't, he seemed like he was away from the game. Silas just didn't, he wasn't the right fit for those kind of young cats, man.
Bert, we
And
passed the Silas era. We want to be
yeah.
positive.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he wasn't a good fit. So getting rid
I
of him
agree.
way overdue. They got a young coach in here to coach some young talented players up in Boston. So they gonna win some games, man. I think they're gonna be exciting to watch. Like I said, my only concern is that paint. The NBA got away from having a good post player, center. It's more small forwards, and they just got away from the big man is a dying breed in the NBA. But you still need rebounding. And you got to have somebody there to clog up that middle. So we'll see how it goes, man. But like I said, the gentleman, Jalavet said that he see him winning about 35 games or so. Is that right? Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe 30. Yeah, maybe 30.
That's what I
maybe
believe. 36, 35 to 38.
30. And they may surprise us and do more. They may win more than 30. I'm
I'm
just going
gonna stick to 46. Let me ask
wow.
this last basketball, a couple of basketball questions. James Harden, Damian Lillard, they still projected out there as trades. I believe Harden is going to be back in Philly. Don't nobody else want him at the rate he wants. And Damian Lillard is going to get traded, maybe not to the Heat. And Denver's still the favorite to win. Jeff, Mr. President, what you say about those things?
Okay. This is what I say. First of all, let's start with James Harden. James Harden, things really didn't go well for James Harden this offseason. He really wanted to come back to Houston. They had been speaking with him throughout the season, and it was projected that he was going to return to Houston. The problem, what happened was that when Houston hired their new head coach, Ahmed Udoka, he did not like Harden. He didn't like it. He didn't think he was the right fit for this team. He felt that he would dwarf the development of their young players. So he just didn't think it was a good fit. He didn't like his attitude. He's a guy that wants to be traded every year. If he's get this malcontent, he he'd be traded here. He was constantly want to get moved here and there. You don't want a guy like that on your team who's just not. He's not appreciative of his opportunity to be an NBA player. So he didn't want him here. So that's why Harden went ahead and picked up the option on his contract. Because I was wondering, why would he pick up the option on his contract? You're a free agent. Now you can go sign wherever you want to go sign. But why would you pick up the option on your contract? The reason why is because Houston, he wanted to come to Houston. And Houston soured on him because of the coach. Udoka managed to talk the Rockets management team into saying no to Harden. And that messed up everything for Harden. So that's why he picked up the last year.
Well, that shows why he wasn't a good fit for him to even think that.
Right. But I like what the Rockets have done. I mean, think about what they've done this offseason. They picked up Udoka, so that's an upgrade. They've upgraded the coach. He is far better coach than Silas. Then you pick up Amon Thompson and you pick up Cam Whitmore in the draft. Outstanding draft. It couldn't have been any better. Then you pick up Fred VanVleet. You pick up Dylan Brooks. You pick up Jock Landale. Don't sleep on Jock Landale. Trust me, I've seen some of his highlights. I saw him against Denver in the playoffs when he played for Phoenix. That guy can play. Trust me, that guy can play. 6'11", about 255. He can play. I like the pickup of Jeff Green. Jeff Green is going to be huge, not just on the court, but off the court. He's going to help these guys be professionals. The guy's 37. He's going to help. He's going to be like their father figure. He's going to help those guys be professionals.
They call him Uncle Jeff.
And then, and then they picked up Aaron Holiday. That's point guard depth. So, hey, I like what they did. I think what they did is enough to give them a 20-game improvement. They won 22 games last year. I think what they did this offseason is enough to give them a 20-game improvement. So I have them going from 22 to 42 wins.
Sounds powerful. We'll see. We got a lot of projections here. Last episode, we had this discussion. We've heard some things since then about it, back and forth. And Brother Jalavet, you weren't here. I want to ask you the question. Should the NBA provide more income from what they have to the WNBA? Why not? And how can the WNBA get more income, more viewership?
I mean, well, absolutely. If they're going to say that they're, family, the WNBA and the NBA, they're partners and it's under the umbrella of the NBA, there's no doubt in my mind that there's there shouldn't be some type of implemented 1% from the union or something like that that's required or guaranteed to go to the women NBA. I did also hear something from Shaq that actually would help assist the women in with with the fans and everything, and just receiving money. I guess more exposure is to lower the rim. I thought that was a great idea. It'll be more of a highlight for women. I mean, the women actually are more structured. I see better offense, from the women. They actually run complete plays, and it's not just a catch the ball and shoot a one-on-one. They actually run sets. That's just me personally, but I definitely think there should be something from the NBA that needs to contribute more money.
Are you, Brother Jonathan, are you a coach now? And where are you a coach at, if you don't mind?
I'm still coaching at North American University. It's a small school right here in Stafford, Sugar Land. Going into our third year, complete year, and it's going to be exciting for us because I was able to pick up some young talent, some transfers, and that's what it takes to build a program. Very lucky. We actually played Texas Southern University this year. We played Prairie View, we played Lamar, Nichols State, and McNeese. So those are going to be some great games for us.
You coach young men or young women?
Young women, collegiate women.
So you have a perspective on this WNBA thing. Now, last week, let me tell you, the consensus I didn't believe was for that. I can see your standpoint on the 1%, but if the situation, maybe if the situation was reversed, they would kick in maybe more as motherly and so forth. But I don't necessarily feel it's the obligation of the brothers. Now, considering what some of them do with their money, how they waste it, that is not a bad thing for them to be able to put their money and invest in that. But a brother last week said, now, if they shake their skirt a little bit and wear more high heels, they would get more viewership. I didn't say it. That was brother last week that he said that. Any other comments on that difference between the WNBA and whether the NBA should support them, supplement them? Phil, what'd you say?
Man, if Jaylen Brown can make $304 million, they can't do some tip change over there? $304 million for Jaylen Brown.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you seen Jonquel Jones, Breanna Stewart, the Aces, the Liberty? I've seen them play. I enjoy watching. They play good ball.
My girl is the girl for the Wings. I can't pronounce her name.
I know who you're talking about. She's on the commercials with and what have you. Yeah, she's good.
She got a step back that is brutal,
she does.
Man.
And I mean, just in general, they have
even the guard out of New York, the Liberty. I can't pronounce her name.
Anesco. Sabrina Anesco.
She's amazing. And what actually is hurting now the WNBA is that NIL. Because they can make more money in the college. That's really hurt them. That was a step back for the WNBA with the superstars that's all still in college.
But once college is over, the WNBA is waiting. That's even more money. So it's
waiting, but we definitely need to put more money into the WNBA. And I just think as far as like the union, who's ever in charge of it right now, they really need to discuss as far as like whenever there's a new contract with all the new players. It doesn't have to say that it's highlighted just for the WNBA to put like some type of condition into their contracts, but there's something. If they can create new taxes,
you can put the whole
they can put it into the
NBA contracts together. You won't get $304 million Jaylen Brown just got. So I'm just saying, you're right. They should have some avenue to get some money.
What's your return on investment? What's your return on investment? I mean, I understand what you guys are saying. You're right. They've got all of this money, but Bill Gates has a lot of money. He's not giving me any of it. He has plenty.
Okay.
on investment, what's the NBA?
Well,
invest in
I'm
the
not saying the
WNBA?
NBA necessarily has to get it. I think the WNBA can still generate the money for themselves. It's not a bad product. Didn't we just not watch the Final Four with LSU? I mean, they have like almost a farm system waiting to generate the money too. That young lady from LSU is going to help the WNBA. It's going to continue. They have some stars. I don't expect them to make Jaylen Brown money. I'm just saying make a little bit more. I mean, nothing spectacular. I don't mind watching.
It's a solid
Listen, I don't
product that
I don't
has
know the numbers.
lasted for what
I
now,
don't know the
25
numbers. Oh,
years?
right.
So it has a solid product. Now, they can't necessarily just compare themselves to say we should get as much as the NBA players. I would go back to this comment. There's a different level of force, a different level of power, friction that's involved and so forth. And that does matter as far as interests of people. I mean, maybe some people may have an argument as to how I phrase that. I'm sorry, but that matters as far as interest in what people want to go see. The competition of the brothers playing, the men playing, is at a higher level. Now, they do have skill, they do have strategy, skill, everything else, and great players. But just because of physicality, it can only go so far.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I don't know the revenue, the total revenue for hockey and the viewership, but I'm pretty sure women is probably right there, if not a little bit better, as far as the WNBA and the hockey, and they're still on ESPN. I'm pretty sure the jersey sales for women might be a little bit more. Maybe I don't see it. Maybe it's in a couple of states, Montana and up north, but I'm just saying as far as like the ESPN on what they target as far as like the hockey, I have no idea about who's playing for hockey. I really don't. So that's just me. That's just me. So
Well, a lot of
you
the
have to
teams are
explain it
from
to me.
Canada, and so Canadians don't play with their hockey. And we have a lot of teams here, and we have some of the original NHL teams are in America. So there's a good mixture of how that money is generated, and it's tradition. I mean, that Stanley Cup got people all hyped up for whatever reason, and the WNBA hasn't built that yet. I mean, had we still had the Comets, we'd probably still be thinking a little different, because only thing I've seen close to what the Comets did is what the Aces are doing right now. They got a loaded team with a lot of good players. And so does New York. They're right behind them. So like I said, it's opportunity, but we have to be patient, take time. You can't stuff what's going on. Hey, look, here's another thing. They got the same problems we got. One of the Aces stars got arrested for domestic violence. I mean, come on. They doing the same things the men do. Problems, same thing. Same sex, same problems. Situations. I mean, you know, they're playing ball. They're out there. They're high profile. They drink. They do. I mean, it's the same stuff almost.
I ain't giving them that kind of break, Philip. No.
Well, I mean, that's just an opinion. It's just an opinion, but that's a fact.
I agree.
They doing that stuff.
I mean,
that's a fact. My opinion and my facts are different.
I got what you're saying, but all I'm saying is they don't necessarily deserve more money just because they got, you know, the same issues as everybody else. We all want more money and so forth. But are you generating it like Daryl was saying? And I will agree to this.
They come a long way already.
I agree. Yeah, and they're going to keep going. They have a solid product. I agree with this. The last thing I want to say on this, losing the Comets hurt the progress and the league in general. Losing that first-time, four-time champion as a league representative hurt that league in its stature and in a lot of different ways. And I think we ought to get together and re-bring the Comets up or get some investors. We need a Houston Comets team in the WNBA.
Before you close it out, let me have one word on that. You already
go ahead, brother.
My comment, but this market here in Houston, there's no way we shouldn't have a WNBA team. You know, I know the previous owner, you know, they let the team, you know, just fold. But after all these years, like you said, we won the first 4 championships in the WNBA of its existence. We don't have a team here. And that's, to me, is just, you know, it's unimaginable that we don't have a team here, man. You know, so Back to that, I know you want to move on real quickly, but I feel like the women's deserve probably better pay. I don't know who the highest paid players in the WNBA are, but I don't think the level of play is on the level, like you say, physicality is on the same level of the NBA. But women basketball has come a long way in the past 20-some years, since the Comets. So there's better players out there. It's just more skillful. So yeah, they deserve some more money. That wouldn't have happened to Brittany Griner if she didn't have to go somewhere else and play to earn extra money. If they were paying them a little bit more. So that's just some two bits I want to throw in there. So
okay, Carl, let me chime in. I haven't had a comment on this topic. I believe that the NBA can do a better job marketing the WNBA. I just don't think that they spend enough money marketing that league. That's one. Number two, I do agree. I said this 2 years ago that they should lower the rims. I just think that it's unfair to expect those women to be able to put on the same spectacle, the same entertainment, have the same level of entertainment value as the men, when the average height of a WNBA player is maybe 6 feet, and the average height of an NBA player is 6'7". So they shouldn't be playing on the same rim. I think they should bring their rim down to maybe 9 feet 4 inches. And I think that you would see a lot more high flying dunks and alley oops, and you would have a much more exciting product.
Be more exciting.
And that was that, and
I don't think it would increase viewership one bit.
Okay, can I finish my comment before
But the game will be more exciting?
Let me finish. And then lastly, I do believe that the NBA can invest more money into the WNBA. I mean, if you can pay Jaylen Brown $304 million over 5 years, come on. There's no way the NBA players should be making $60 million a year, and you're paying these WNBA players the small amount of money they're paying them. They can do better than that. You know they can. I say invest at least an additional $6 million in each team. At least an additional $6 million in each team. That's 12 players. So now you're looking at least an increase of $500,000 per player. You can have to do it that way, or you can do it based on the stature of players as far as the various tiers of the type of player relative to their skill set. But they can give the women a raise. They can get them a bump in pay.
So
at least a 25 to 35% bump in pay. Yes.
Let me give you this example. I want you to give this new female employee at your job at the IRS, I want you to give her $3,000 off your salary so she can have more money. She's a new employee. We want to take care of her. We want you to give her $3,000 off of your salary and make sure she's okay. Is that okay for your contract?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not a selfish person. Sure.
Okay. Not everybody would agree to that. We just gonna leave that right there. We're gonna continue that subject another time. We want to have more ladies on here, and we're gonna try for that because we're gonna continue that subject, and we're gonna have some ladies on here to discuss it from their perspective also. But what I want to talk about now is, yay, football is starting. I have never kind of been so saying, man, I want to see some football. I want to see some running, some jumping. Have you all heard about the running backs filing kind of a separate lawsuit that they are saying they get so much punishment, they need a little bit extra protection, money, and so forth. And the league is kind of dismissing it a little bit. But the Texans are in camp. What is our projection? And what do we say about that running back situation? Daryl.
Well, the running backs are underpaid, but that's nobody's fault but the CBA. When they sat down, they did the last collective bargaining agreement. They signed off on it, and everybody knows, we've known for years that a top running back in this day and age has a 3-year, 4-year shelf life expectancy. So that's why they're not giving these guys the second contract. Everybody knows you make your money on your, and I get into the second contract, and if they do, they're not long-term, like even the offensive linemen or defensive linemen, definitely not like quarterbacks because they don't expect them to be there. Dalvin Cook can still run the ball. Josh Jacobs can still run the ball. They don't want to give them money for the next 4 years because they don't think that they will be able to run the ball, not this year, but in 2 years from now. So the best thing to do when you have that situation is you let Dalvin Cook go, or you hold tight on the money to Josh Jacobs. Or you let Ezekiel Elliott go because you have Tony Pollard, and then you end up franchising him anyway. But that's the whole reason that the running backs aren't getting the money. They sat down at the table and they signed off on that, and now it's coming to bite them in the butt. They're not going to pay them 4 years from now when they don't expect them to be as productive as they are now.
Seems like a dilemma for the running backs because doesn't seem like the owners are saying, yeah, we understand. Does not seem like that. They seem like the owners are going to push it. What you say, Jolivet?
I mean, for me, definitely the running backs are underpaid. I mean, when you think of the quarterback can only go so far sometimes without the running back. The running back sets everything up for the offense. So I just can't understand as far as when they talk about the value of a running back, the pay that they receive, it should definitely be more of, if not just as much as a quarterback to me. They're just important. We also, I mean, we know about Tennessee. We know the running back that they had over there, but we also know about the Baltimore Ravens when they won the championship. They didn't have no quarterback. Who did they have? They had a running back, that helped. And of course, they had a defense, but they wouldn't have gotten so far on offense, without that running back. You got to have a solid running back, period. Not an average, a really good running back. So definitely they're underpaid, in my opinion.
What do you say about the Texans?
I'm optimistic about the Texans. I mean, it all starts and leads with with the head coach. I like the additions even before the draft came. I like the additions of the people that they brought in, the free agents, it was really some solid veterans that's going to compete, that's going to push the new guys. It's everybody when you become a player, I'm gonna say it like this, as a head coach, you go out to try to find someone to compete, to challenge a newcomer, a freshman, in my case, a freshman, a rookie, or somebody like that, because that bench is a mother. We know that. That bench is going to teach them and lure them to be a little bit more active and dedicated to play. So the transactions and everything that they did even before the draft was really, it impressed me. I'm really looking forward to going to a Texans game this year.
What do you think they're going to do? What's going to be their record?
I actually believe they're going to win 8 to 9 games. I really do. Our conference is weak. I think we got some really nice wide receivers. I think our defense is going to be much better than what people think. I think we got a solid defense. Our cornerbacks are going to be good. I think we're still lacking on a defensive end. I think our linebackers, I think we're missing one linebacker, me personally, but I think we're going to be pretty solid. I think in this conference, in this division, I think they can win 8 to 9 games. I really do.
Well, we'll see pretty soon coming up. Phil, what do you think? When is the first game? Also, colleges play TSU, Prairie View, U of H, Rice, as well as high school. What do you see for the Texans? What is kind of the football outlook coming up?
Well, in the great state of Texas, football starts from Pop 1 all the way up. You can't go wrong. I watch them all. But as far as the Texans are concerned, they got a lot of talent. But gelling it and with a new coach, D'Amico gonna get it together, but I'm not gonna sit, and again, I'm not gonna be as aggressive as some people. I'll take 6 or 7 wins and be thoroughly happy because that means they're developing, hoping no injuries. I love the fact John Meachie's coming back. He's gonna give Stroud somebody who can stretch the field, go across the middle, not afraid. And I'm telling you, the linebacker Will Anderson is gonna be rookie of the year. I don't care what nobody say. He's gonna make so many tackles. It's gonna be incredible because he's gonna get opportunity. They got a good offense. The line is getting better than they ever had it, and I can recall in the Texans tenure. And so when you look at the big picture of what all they're trying to do, like Mr. Jolivet said, the division is weak, but they were very weak in the past. That's a big leap. It's not impossible. They've had teams that finish last and go to first a lot in the NFL, probably more in football than you see in basketball or baseball.
Look at the Bengals. The Bengals did it.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's not impossible. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm not going to pontificate like I know exactly what they're going to do, but I'm going to assume just to get 6 or 7 wins from where they were and continue that progression, I'm good.
Okay, Bert, give me a projection for who's going to win the AFC, who's going to win the NFC. I'm going to go with Philadelphia again. Shoot, I got to go with Philadelphia. You can't go against Mahomes. Philadelphia, Kansas City. That's who's going to be my projection. Bert.
Well, as far as the Texans concerned, man, they're gonna be better than they've been in the last 4 or 5 years. They got a hell of a young coach who I believe is a motivator. You have passion for the game, and he has passion for the game. And with the new quarterback, I like the quarterback they got Stroud. I liked him over Bryce. I did. I'm one of them kind of guys that, just because somebody got all the hype, you got to look at the talent, what they do on the field or on the court. The same way I go back to Cam Whitmore. I like Cam Whitmore more than I like the 4th round pick they got. But back to this other football, I think they're gonna have a great team, man. I think they'll win 8 games. I give them 8. I think they're a solid 8-game win season for them. If they do more than that, hey man, you got something to cheer about. They got good talent. And this quarterback, there's no way they should even think about not starting him at the beginning of the season. Just go ahead and get it on over with. Don't hold him back. Let him learn on the field. I mean, you think about Jacksonville. That's what they did with the young quarterback from Clemson. Any quarterback that's going to become great in the NFL, if you're a rookie coming out of college, and it's a transition for him. The game is faster. But you know what? They're going to make mistakes. But you already trying to improve. So what is it going to hurt by holding, what is it going to hurt by letting them get out there and get the taste of professional football, throw some interceptions, make some mistakes, learn from those mistakes. Peyton Manning threw how many interceptions as a rookie? 21 the first season or something like that. He led the league in interception. But look, 2-time Super Bowl champ. So you got to let these kids play. You bring them in, you pay them the bucks. This quarterback you got as a half from last year, I can't think of his name right now. I mean, he already showed you what he about. They said yesterday in training camp, he forced a couple of passes. He's what he is, and what he is a backup. So 8 wins, they're gonna be better. And then, as the years go on, these guys get to experience these rookies they brought, and they get this, get the cohesiveness together and play ball, man. They'll go up to 10. Then they can start talking about
let me get a projection from you. Who gonna win the AFC? Who gonna win the NFC? Give a projection.
Well, man, you know what? I know you're gonna laugh at me, but I ain't gonna go no other way in the NFC but other than the Cowboys. Keep hope alive. I'm always keep hope alive. I'm a man that's gonna keep hope alive. So I'm going there. I'm gonna go there. You in Philly, I'm going to Cowboys in the NFC. I know you're shaking your head, DG, but I'm a Cowboy man. Die hard. But to the AFC, man, I can't see nobody messing with Kansas City, but Kansas City.
Understood.
That's a beast.
Brother Jalabert, your
Maybe
projection.
Buffalo.
Your projection.
Okay. NFC, I think the Rams. I think the Rams can't be tied down too long. Their defense is just too good. I'm going to say the Rams. I'm not a Rams fan, but I just think the Rams are going to step up. AFC, I'm going to surprise. I'm going to throw a wrench in there. I think Cleveland is going to be battling in Kansas City. I'm going to say Cleveland.
Okay.
Be tough to beat.
Brother Darryl.
Cleveland.
Brother Darryl, your projection.
I like Cleveland.
Can't hear you, Darryl.
Did we lose Darryl?
Can't hear you, D.
Okay.
Okay, well, how about I chime in? Okay, you ready for me?
Okay, Jeff.
Okay. I like the Texans did this offseason. I like the free agent signings. I like what they did in the draft. They had an outstanding draft. I thought Jimmy Ward was an outstanding pickup in free agency. I thought Dalton Schultz was an outstanding pickup in free agency. I like the pickups that they made. I think with the addition of D'Amico Ryans and his staff, I got the Texans going 8 wins.
Hard-nosed football team.
All right, we got video of a Texans pickup. Brother Darryl Singletary who's I guess the backup behind Damian Pierce. And he's one of the Texans' new pickups for this year. And as you all were saying, it's important to have a running back. And we'll see how their running backs work. We really haven't had a great running back since Adrian Foster. And saying he's great is stretching a little bit. But in the history of the Texans, we haven't just had one Earl Campbell or a Tony Dorsett. So maybe this year we'll see.
I really think this is Devin Singletary, folks. He played for the Denver Broncos last season. He's an outstanding running back.
Buffalo last year.
Who I said?
Buffalo.
Okay, yeah. And I think he's an outstanding running back to play behind.
You can bring it back, Darryl.
I think he's an outstanding running back. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry last season.
Just don't pick him for fantasy, Jeff.
Say what?
Don't pick him for fantasy football, though. I promise you that.
Okay, all right. It's all about football. It's all about the team. I think he's going to be an outstanding.
I'm just a little tidbit. That's a little FYI. I play a lot of fantasy.
Okay.
Okay, did we get everybody's projections? We're going to see how it goes down. It's kind of hard to beat the Eagles in Kansas City, but it's a lot of new things that can happen. CJ Stroud, Jeff, you're a fan of his. I still say Davis Mills, but we'll see. So football's about to start. When is the first game, guys?
They play next August the 10th. I don't think it's preseason.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. They're in training camp right now. Let me ask this question. Have you all been watching baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Do the Astros have a chance to repeat?
I don't know about repeating because the pitching is just so weak right now. They in baseball, you can win most of your games with a 2-3 run lead. But these guys, they get a lead early in the game and they give it up. The next thing you know, the next inning is tied up. The pitching is just, it's horrendous. We need pitching. We got hitting, but you got to have some pitching, you know. I think they will come back and win the division. I think they're going to catch Texas. But it's going to be tough for them to win the pennant, you know, the world championship, my brother. In my opinion.
Sometimes pitching can develop over a season. And they lost that free agent that went to the Mets, who was the ace, I guess.
Verlander.
So that affected them. Anything else about baseball? Go ahead, Phil.
Okay.
No, I said Verlander's really not a huge loss. He's just beginning to pitch better in New York, and they are horrible. So we could have used him, of course, but overall, good hitting, stop good pitching every time. I don't care who you got.
Some say the reverse, especially when somebody like Bob Gibson was pitching. Good pitching can stop great hitting.
Yeah. But you said the magic words, Bob Gibson, Hall of Fame. Everybody ain't got a lot of Bob Gibsons.
That's true. You're right, Phil. You're right on that. Jeff, you was gonna comment.
I look at the Astros. They are only 2 games out of first place. 2 games with 59 games to play. So I'm not feeling antsy. They have time. You got to realize they just won the championship. So it's hard for a team to be motivated a whole 162 game season. You just don't understand how hard that is to do. So they're only 2 games back out of first place. They get it together. I think that they're going to get better as the season goes on. I think the pitchers are going to get better. I think they need to pick up. They have the trade deadline on Tuesday. They need to make a move. They need to make a move.
They need an ace, Jeff.
Say what?
They need an ace. They need somebody that can give them a good, strong 7 innings.
Okay.
You know, they need an ace in as a starter. You know, they just don't have. They got some decent ones, but they can't hold it that long. 3 or 4 innings, into 3 or 4, 5 innings, maybe at the tops. They start to whittle away. You know, they start giving up hits and runs. So I'll be at the game Tuesday night. So we'll see.
For me, the Astros, I think we definitely have the best coach in the American League, as far as like inspiring his players, motivating and encouraging his players. I think we have the deepest roster, even though some of our best players are injured but are returning. Jordan Alvarez just returned along with Altuve 1 game ago. I think Urquidy will come back and, provide some additional pitching to
Yeah, they missed him.
the young man that just came from Chicago White Sox that we just traded for. I don't know much about him, but hey, he was an ace and a star pitching for the Chicago White Sox. So I think with the, even with just that addition, if they don't do any more trades, I think we'll be fine. And as Mr. Walker's, mentioned, we're 2 games out with all of the injuries and everything that we've gone through this year. Nobody's running away in the American League.
Yeah.
I think their toughest opponent is going to be the Braves in the National League.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I think it's going to be the Braves and the Astros again. But I do think that the Braves will probably win it this year.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have Dusty Baker. And I believe that was Dusty's choice to get a 1-year contract. I mean, we don't know whether it was Astros or Dusty, that wasn't revealed, but I think if Dusty wanted 3 years, they'd have gave him 3 years if that's what he wanted. I think that was his choice to do that. I heard that somebody mentioned that. But he is, in my opinion, the ace of managers in Major League Baseball.
I do have one question.
I'm a Dusty fan. Go ahead.
I do have one question for the experienced baseball and informants that we have on here. The Astros, because I was reading some earlier. They have someone in the minor leagues who just hit the ball 466 feet. Do y'all know anything about this gentleman? He's been with the Astros off and on. I think he was with the Astros. He left, and now he's back with the Astros in the minor league. But I just read somewhere where he just played last night in Sugar Land. He's on the Skeeter, whatever their name is, Skeeters.
You're talking about Singleton.
Space Cowboys now.
You're talking about Singleton. Singleton. He fell off. I forgot what it was. I don't remember if it was drugs or what it was.
He has some problems. He had personal problems.
Yeah, he has some issues, and he's had to fight his way back in, and he's getting his opportunity. But yeah.
What do you think? Do you think he can help the Astros later? You think they'll pick him up? I mean, do y'all know anything about him? Like if he's going to play?
Call-up time is in September, so that's when they usually call up minor league players that they feel can help the roster for the
Because
playoffs.
I know they traded Corey Lee. I think he was going to be the next addition to kind of step up for the Astros. So I'm wondering if this other guy is going to kind of replace that Corey Lee, kind of come up, play a couple of games or something like that. So I just wanted to know more about.
You'll probably know in September. That's when the call-up time usually is.
We need Bradley back too. That'd be we got Bradley back. Man, that's another guy we need. Yeah, Michael Bradley. Yeah.
Bradley, yeah, I agree. We just got to get healthy. We just got to get everybody back. We just got to get
the Astros have some time to make up things, and they have Dusty Baker to encourage them past those points. I'm optimistic that they will make that push at the right time. That's what I'm optimistic about. We're right at the end of our show, the 9th episode of Sunny Side with Jeff Walker Live, Sportstake. We've had some new growth, some new innovation things that we're trying to add. We're going to continue. I have a last question. The state of tennis. Since Serena has retired, she hadn't totally retired, but of course she's less. She was the name, the changing face of tennis. Black tennis, or male black tennis, has not been as prominent as Serena and some of the others have done. What is the state of black tennis?
Well, you got 2 good players still playing right now, Mr. Eubanks, and you got Tefo. He's good. Yeah, they got a couple of guys, and then you got Sloane Stevens, Osaka. Whenever she gets her head straight, she'll be all right. You got Coco Gauff, But as far as men, Francis Tefo and Mr. Eubanks, Chris Eubanks is all I've seen. I don't watch a lot of tennis. But he did and got to the
tennis is like, it's a privileged sport. It was at a certain time, but many more neighborhood kids are starting to go into it. And it's certainly an opportunity. Not everybody can be a basketball player. John Lucas, of course, was a national champion but he was
World-class
still
tennis
an
player.
NBA point guard and so forth.
And his
And
son,
more
too.
young men, young women can do that. Brother Jolivet, what is your take on the state of tennis?
But I don't know much about tennis, but anything that's not relevant is probably dealing with marketing. Who's on the tennis who's going to be out there to actually be exposed to the hip hop community?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, with this generation is different from when we were growing up. Everything is kind of, you know, generated, I guess, or circulated through, you know, social media, hip hop, television, Adidas, Nike. So if it doesn't have that, it's going to be very difficult for even our young, real talent to move even further, because in HISD, the public schools is just not pushed like that. You know, we just don't have that. You know, we just need, I mean, it doesn't have an AAU camp that I know about that's actually pushing it. You know,
Right.
there's a few little camps, but, you know, everything else has that AAU. You know, people are playing and it's contributed to the younger, just like you was talking about Pop One or football. It starts at a younger age.
But
Yeah, and
actually
everybody
tennis,
don't have
but
a
actually
Richard
tennis
Williams.
had AAU type tournaments and activities way before basketball did.
Basketball.
Like you
And
said, it was
where is it now?
privileged, but it was there. But it was there.
But yeah, Zena Garrison. Where is she
Yeah.
now? Where is someone that's doing it for Zena Garrison, you know, at McGregor Park? We don't have that anymore. So those are some of the things that we need. We need to be able to just push it, you know, back to our inner cities, our communities.
And Lori
that are
McNeil,
young.
remember her too. Lori was right there with
Yeah,
Zena.
Lori, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Laura McNeil.
Anybody else have a comment on the state of tennis, Darryl?
Well, like Philip said, he did a great job of naming the names. I actually had to research to remember some of these people. Of course, we know Coco and Sloan, but winning cures all ills. And as soon as an African American actually wins, because we didn't know anything about Eubanks, but then we looked up and he beat the number 5 seed, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, who is this guy? If he had gone any further, he'd be a national hero, especially in the African American community. We love winners. If he goes back to an also ran, because he hadn't really done anything before this, if he goes back to an also ran, he'll be forgotten so quickly.
He was ranked outside the 100 until he got to the tournament.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He
He just
was
got in the
number
50.
31.
He had been unranked. He had been unranked.
Now he's number 31.
Right, but he had won a tournament right before Wimbledon,
Right.
and that's what got him there. But that's what we love in our community, and so that's what's missing. There's no push for the youth, like he said. There's no push for the youth to say, okay, I want to be a tennis star, because they're not getting the love. They don't see it, like you said, in the hip hop community or the marketing or anything, unless they're winners. They don't get that type of love. So I think it's in dire straits. I'm happy and excited that there are a good 8 to 10 that are actively playing. I didn't know Venus played this year. Did y'all know that Venus
She
actually
did.
played in the
She
first
actually
round?
did. She is. She's an
I
She's awesome.
I didn't know. Venus was a household name.
Yes.
Right.
Before
And now-
Serena.
And now they did absolutely, like you said about marketing. They said nothing about Venus.
Well,
They
she
could
played.
have
Yeah.
they could have went from the standpoint of, hey, she's 40, whatever she is now. I mean, even if they had to market that way. So
But like you said, Darryl, she don't win no more.
she doesn't win,
Yeah.
so there's no hype. Right quick, I hate to switch, but I wanted to get this part in. If you didn't watch the Wimbledon final, you missed a competition. Whether you like tennis or not,
That's right.
to watch this 20-year-old Spaniard play
Lady
Djokovic
John.
for 5 sets, and I mean back and forth. One game went like 26 minutes. One set went like an hour. And a
Nobody
half.
thought Dolce could lose.
Oh man, this guy.
I
There's
didn't.
been
I'll
no
tell
other
you that.
names. There's been no other names. There's been Federer, Murray, Dolce, and I'm forgetting somebody. But that's who's won all the men's lately. This kid is something else. If you want to see the new face of tennis,
That's him.
watch Carlos Alcaraz. This
Mhm.
guy is something else. I expect to see big things from it. I can't wait for the next. What's next? U.S. Open in New York, September. I want
Yes,
to see what he's going to
Labor
do
Day.
on that. I want to see what he's going to do on that surface. But that's what I have to say about tennis.
Okay, guys, we are at the end of our episode, our show. We talked about NBA, we talked about the NFL, and we talked about the world of tennis. we are going to be up to date in things going on in sports across the board. We're going to continue. We're going to grow. We're going to inform you. Keep looking at our site, Sunny Side Live with Jeff Walker on Facebook. Look at that. We're at the end of our show, and I want everybody to give a final summation of basically the state of sports and what you want to talk about. If you want to share something about football or basketball, what you see as coming up or what's going on now. Let's start with Bert.
Well, I think the state of sports in general is probably better than it's ever been. You know, look at the contract.
These contracts, for sure.
Mhm.
Look at the money they're giving away, you know. So that's just the indication there's money out there and they making it. You know, going back to the Astros for a second, you used to get in the Astros game.
That I want everybody to comment on their ending also. We broached on it a little bit, and we may need to take a little bit more time. The NIL and how that's going to affect basically sports in general.
Already got effect on it. Coaches complaining about it, losing players, you know. So it's already an issue for college players, coaches rather. But the players loving it, you know. But you got guys complaining about it right now. I mean, they want to control. They want that control, and they don't have it now. You know, that good old boy system is kind of gone. So it's a long time coming too. You know, they should have been paying these kids something, giving them something. That's why there was so many violations in the past. You know, so many.
It makes like no sense. It's almost akin to, you know, the kid go to school, and then this school, Auburn, Alabama, is making billions of dollars, and then he's starving on the weekend trying to get something to eat. Come on, man.
Right. That's my point, man. They should have been doing something for him. It just kind of always reminded me, I always thought of it as a slave man mentality. You know, you're holding them down, man, you know. So it's
I prefer my time to Mr. Jolivet.
Brother Jolivet.
The NIL, I think it's hurt. I think it's hurting. I think it eventually hurt, you know, even the professional sports. I think that eventually will. These kids are making too much money. And I even think that some of the programs, the kids, the recruits will be going and targeting certain schools to receive more money. I think other sports or other inside those universities, I think it'll hurt them because some of the donors now and some of those companies will be contributing their money more to basketball or football than donating to maybe other sports, the band, the swimming, and you know, and those things, so that they can, you know, have their names or companies exposed. Now the state of the sports right now, I love it. I think it's exciting. I think it's brand, you know, I think the brand is working. I think on all elements, I think the sports right now is just, it's doing well. You see, I mean, just as you touched on, I think the NBA players and NFL players, baseball players are just making crazy money. I want to throw in this nugget real quick. I know it's outside of sports, but I had the honor, when we was talking about baseball, J.C. Hartman.
I know
the
him
first
well.
Negro. I met him yesterday. Great guy. Me and the other basketball coach.
He actually coached me in Little League, to be totally honest. I know him. He was HPD. He played for the Dodgers and in the Negro League.
Yeah, he was the first one. So we had a good discussion. That was an honor to meet him yesterday. And, you know, he invited me to his house.
Almost
so
90,
that was
I
honor.
think.
Sir?
He's about 90, I think. He's pretty close.
Yeah, I met him and his wife yesterday, and you know, it was a little lengthy conversation at Walmart, of all places. I had on my Astros shirt, and he just stopped me in my place, and we had a good conversation.
JC.
So it was an honor to meet him yesterday.
And that was at St. Mary's, Jeffrey.
Okay.
So, but that's the NIL. I think it's going to eventually just hurt all sports. I really do. I think it needs to be a cap as far as like the money that these college students make. I mean, I'm gonna throw a number out there. I think it should be 100,000. That's just me. I think after you graduate, you can make as much as you want. Sign a contract saying if you're still gonna, you know, work with this company that's gonna give you this money after you graduate. If you graduate and if you're still in college and you're making this type of money, I really think that you need to void the rest of your years and just move on, become professional.
What about
That's
the
the whole
argument that
discussion right there and the whole thing. Our next episode, Jeff, we're gonna have to really go heavy on the NIL. Brother Phillip.
Let me give you a quick
What you
example of
feel
what
on
I
that?
think about that. Take Chris Webber. He played college 1 year. Here's a man that's making that college millions, not thousands, millions. He goes into the bookstore, his jersey's hanging in there, but he gets no revenue for all the money they're making off that jersey, and he has to
That's what
go
I'm
to
saying.
McDonald's to eat. That's all I'm saying. Have a way they structure it, give the kids some money, make it fair.
It's not
Sports in
structured
general,
well.
Mr. Jolivet just brought up a good point. Bert, Mr. JC used to come over. We would help establish South Central Little League almost 20 years ago. JC was one of the first speakers to come on. Him and Bobby Tolan are good friends.
I remember.
Bobby Tolan is a retired Cincinnati Red with the big red machine. They would come over, speak to the kids. If I had next time, I have a picture of me, JC, and DeAndre as coaches. But he was my little league baseball coach at St. Mary. So it's men like him that make the state of sports extremely fun. Fritz Greer, a lot of people don't know him, but Fritz Greer was the first director at the South Central YMCA. I can't name the coaches, the players, people who passed through there in the 70s that are my age now and older who had the privilege of going places and doing things. So sports, if handled right, can benefit you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Sure can. I truly believe that. Even though my father was one of the ones behind no pass, no play back in the day.
That's not bad.
People criticized him for that. But you got to have a little balance also. You don't have to. It's good. And some kids are not ready for that structure in that particular way. And you need to have different opportunities for everybody. But that's a whole different subject because I would get into the educational system and how it does not help our kids and how we need to have a kind of a different structure to benefit all situations, including athletics. Daryl, your final word on the NIL and state of sports.
I reiterate the same thing I said, like Phil said. If they're making all this money for the NCAA, then they should have some sort of reward. I'll say a cap. I agree with you, Jolivet. I don't know if that cap is 100,000, but that should be some sort of return. It's not going to be fair. I've been on my job for years, like a lot of us, and we don't make what we think is fair based on what the company owner makes. So, looking forward to be fair, I go with the old cliche, life isn't fair, but there should be a balance. And if you feel the way you do about the WNBA, then you got to feel that same way about the players. If there's money out there, the WNBA players from the NBA, then you got to feel the same way about the NCAA and the university as far as the kids in college. I think that runs hand in hand. As far as sports, man, for me, life is sports and sports is life. And I use baseball, football, basketball cliches in all my conversations. Every sport movie has a line that I thought was like, man, that is so true. So that's why I enjoy doing this show. That's why I enjoy talking with guys like you who are knowledgeable what you're talking about. Like that's why I defer to Jolivet when we want to talk about the NIL because he knows all about it. So that's it. So you asked me about sports. What the kids do now, a little love thing. That's me. I love sports. I think we need to get some shirts that say that.
All right, guys. Now we're going to listen from our president to take us out. Give us the final word, sir.
I say that relative to the sports, it's at its all-time high. It's at its all-time high. Look at the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Cowboys. Look at how that franchise has appreciated in value in the last 7 years. That organization has appreciated in value by 100% over the last 7 years. They've gone from a market value of $4 billion to $8 billion in 7 years. So I used to get on them by saying, you're playing these players too much. I would no longer complain about that. When you got the owners have these teams, these franchises that's appreciating in value at that rate, which means that they can they can get loans on that. They can get loans on that money. The players should make every dollar they can make. So right now, sports is at its all-time high. From baseball, the football, the basketball, you got guys making $60 million a year. Sports is at an all-time high, and a lot of it has to do with the TV revenue. So
Don't forget soccer. Don't forget soccer. Got a guy just made $700 million. I'm gonna learn.
Yep. So sports is at an all-time high.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you. We look forward to our, and Joe, we got to set our next date. This is the 28th. We're going to have it once a month, and we're going to work on increasing that volume of times, maybe every 2 weeks. But for right now, we thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Sunny Fireside with Jeff Walker live. And check the site on Facebook and Keep Up with Sports, so you can come back and share in and voice in, and we can have at it again. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Hey, Mr. Jolivet, I want to come see